Okay, the recording you're about to hear was done at an Alpha course. And for those of you who don't know what an Alpha course is, it's not even a course, it's really an evangelism event that most churches these days, for the past 20 or so years, do several times a year. It's usually a 10-week course. Anyone can come, and the idea is that people who are sort of sitting on the fence about religion, about Christianity, or even atheists can come along, and there will be lots of Christians as well. They listen to a talk. It's always the same talk. They're always the same 10-week talk. And then there's discussion afterwards. And I've been to loads of these things. On this occasion, I bring Sharon the Rebel with me. Alpha courses usually take place in the church that's sponsoring it. Sometimes it will take place somewhere else. In this case, it was in a cafe after hours. You might hear in the background there's a refrigerator that hums rather loudly. It goes on, it goes off. Just try to ignore that. And it is well worth listening to. I greatly edited down the initial talk, but afterwards we are both asked what we thought of what was said. Without further ado, here's me and Sharon at the Alpha course. Okay, we are heading for an Alpha course. And you're going to enjoy yourself, aren't you?
I am. I hear there's free coffee and cake.
Well, there's more to it than that, There's speaking your mind, which is something I know you've done before, and I know something I've done before. So, yeah, this could be interesting.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's good to see you all again. Yeah, so welcome. It's good to have Sharon with us as well, new person. That's excellent. Our question this evening is, how does God guide us? We live in a weird, contradictory, postmodern, maybe even post-postmodern world where we have so much choice, and yet we're all asked to decide things for ourselves. Your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth, is something I hear quite commonly. But we're also all searching and crying out for guidance and help. If you go on Amazon and you want to buy something, you've got lots of choice on Amazon, haven't you? And one of the main things that helps you decide what you're going to choose is the reviews. I used to work in marketing, and we used to have a mouthwash on there that nobody bought, and therefore it had no reviews, and it was like the worst selling mouthwash on Amazon. And then you did this marketing scheme with Amazon where you paid 100 people, or you gave free products to 100 people to try the products, and they all loved it and wrote loads of reviews, and suddenly we're the top selling mouthwash on Amazon, and I look great in my company, and I'm really pleased about it. So we're living in a world with lots of choices. We're told we need to decide what's true for ourselves, and yet we're also looking outwards for other people to give us guidance and help in making our decisions. And so this evening, what I want to say is, Christians have a tremendous blessing because we have a God who guides us and helps us make decisions. Today I was reading a quote from a man called Anthony Grayling. He's the Vice President at the British Humanist Association, and he said this: humans can be good without God. I believe in the good life. And by good I don't mean prissy and puritanical things. I think having fun, sex, travel, and all those things are a rich part of the human experience. Our lives are less than 1,000 months long, and to make the best of it, we need to have fun, form strong friendships, and make the best of the gifts we have. Anthony Grayling, it seems to me, is saying this: if we don't believe in God, then we're on a journey to death, and our purpose in life is to get there having the most fun possible. But that's actually quite a hard thing to do. It's quite hard to have lots and lots of fun because everybody else in the world, in this godless world, is trying to have the same thing. We're all competing to have the most fun, so we're all competing to earn the most money, so we can buy the most things which supposedly make our life fun. We're all competing with each other for jobs and for friendships and relationships. And because there's no God in this world, we all set our own rules. We all decide what's okay to do and what's not okay to do. The world is chaotic and difficult to understand, and difficult to work our way through, difficult to find the right path. But Christianity offers a radical alternative to the chaos of the secular world. I want to read a couple of verses from the Bible, from the book of Ephesians. This is Ephesians 2, verses 8 to 10. This is Paul speaking. He's writing a letter to the church, and he says this: "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing, it is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast." That's the gospel message that we've been trying to teach in Alpha the whole way through. You're not saved by doing good works. You're saved rather by the gift of grace, the gift of faith that God gives to people. And by having faith in Jesus Christ, we're saved. But then Paul goes on to write in verse 10 this: "For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." So we're not saved by good works, we're saved by faith in Jesus Christ. But once saved, God guides us into good works that he has prepared for us to do. So the whole Bible guides us to a person saying, believe in Jesus. Believe that he lived, believe that he died, believe that he rose from the dead, believe that he ascended into heaven, believe that he is Lord of heaven and earth. If the Bible has one piece of guidance which is the most important, yeah, I think I can say that, then I think it's this: take Jesus to be your Lord. Submit to Jesus as your Lord. Obey his commands, worship him, be in relationship with him, and copy him. He lived out a model of how to live. God is sovereign, which means he's the supreme authority over all the earth. Psalm 115 verse 3 says, "Our God is in the heavens, he does all that he pleases."
First initial thoughts, anything that you didn't really understand?
I kind of felt, from the point of view of someone who works in a hospital as a health worker, I see people every day that do wonderful, wonderful acts of good, but not necessarily in the name of God. And I kind of feel that the work that they do is slightly undervalued because it's not in the name of God, it's in the name of humanity, which kind of makes me feel, well, you shouldn't perform acts of good because God commands you to. You should do it for the sake of humanity, because humanity should tell us that we need to be good to each other, and that slightly diminished what I believe, is to be good. You should be good for the sake of humanity, not because God tells you to, because being good is the right thing to do. So, I kind of feel like all these people that I work with that do all these wonderful things every day, it's not really taken into account. So, because we've got Christians, we've got people that are Jewish, Hindu, Muslim, a whole variety of people work in that hospital, and I think to do what they're doing, it's incredibly noble. I tried doing it, I couldn't do it, but they don't do it to serve God. They do it because in their heart of hearts that's the right thing to do, to look after other people regardless of who they are, whether they're what religion they are. They don't come into work and say, well, I can't look after you because you're not a Christian and you're not a Jew. They do it because that's what their heart is telling them to do. So I don't know. I don't really know where the Bible would stand with someone who doesn't actually believe in the Bible but still believes in the sake of doing good for humanity.
That's a brilliant point. It's really, that's a great question.
I certainly didn't mean to diminish the good work that lots and lots of people do in the world. So my girlfriend's a nurse, and I totally appreciate that in hospital there are lots of people from lots of different backgrounds who do amazing things. But I do think that the problem of the world, so I think that's probably more what I was going for in terms of there's a big chaotic world in which lots of evil does take place, requires a God to sort it all out, and that's the promise of Christianity. It promises a future. It's not 1,000 months of a life, it's an eternal.
I think something that I found in how God guides me, or how I believe that God guides me, is that I can be presented with 10 options. Like, there is so much choice, absolutely, and I can be presented with 10 options, and like a few of those might seem like a really good idea to me, but one of those I'll have like like almost like a gut feeling or like this real deep peace about, and it might not be the one that I would initially go for in the first place. So it's like having 10 pairs of shoes, and I would initially go for the glittery sparkly ones, but they're probably not they're not the best thing for me, and I would know that deep down, if that makes sense. We're talking about sparkly shoes, it's fine. But that's probably the one my heart would be drawn to that. But I would know there's something in me, like this peace, this gut feeling that's like, actually this is the right thing, even if it's not something that I would go for. Like we always have that gut feeling as to what we actually need. And I would say that's God's guidance in my life.
Am I right in saying that if you are presented with these choices, it's still up to you to say, oh, I'm getting this feeling I should do that. It's up to you whether you take it or not.
Well, if it was, then it wouldn't be a choice.
Yeah. So what is the point of a God showing you? If you're going to make your own choice, then that's the best thing to do anyway.
That's a good question.
Thoughts?
Well, otherwise we'd be robots, wouldn't we?
Well, no, we're all autonomous, but we make our own choices. And I think everything what everyone is talking about sounds to me like, well, taking what the world is, I don't want to say showing you, taking what is available and gravitating towards what you feel more comfortable with, what you're familiar with, what you want to happen. I mean, I'm sure people who are not Christians and not believers at all still have these things happen, which we've all been talking about, and they might not ascribe it to anything. But if you're a Christian, you'll say, I'm sure that's God. There's people in my family who think like that, there was a parking space, that was God, I've heard that, so I'm open-minded, How do I really know that this is, one, a God, and B, the Christian God, and because you have to figure it out for yourself, You opened the Bible, you read that, you decided it meant X, Y, Z. That seems a bit of a sort of a long-winded way of coming to a conclusion.
It helped me.
I think for me, something that I learn a lot is that I think it humbles myself. Like, if there's something that it teaches me a lot and matures me to be like, here's my sparkly pair of shoes that I would normally go for. And it's not like I'm looking at this other one being like, okay, that's a sensible option. I'm very comfortable with this pair of trainers, let's go for that. It's more like I just have a gut feeling that even though I wouldn't choose the trainers, that's the thing that I would go for. And it's not necessarily something which is a comfortable, sensible, normal choice for me.
How do you know that gut feeling is not you though?
I would just attribute it to God. Because that gut feeling goes so against what I would normally pick.
And a Muslim would attribute that to Allah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Your struggle is
want
why
to know
is
how
God
do
God?
you know
Yeah.
it is this particular God, this particular denomination, this particular flavor of Christianity. How do you know? Because that's what I struggle with.
So I would say I would go back to scripture and be like, I see how this representation is in scripture and is in the Bible.
So just to clarify, we wouldn't say we've got it right and all the other Christians have got it wrong. We would say, for the most part, Christians would agree on stuff, and there's different flavours. I think it's quite good, because there are disagreements on finer points of theology which make the practical doing of church difficult to do together, because it's like, oh well, we like this style of music and we like that style of music. Well, we can't please everyone. You meet over there and enjoy your music and worship God, and you meet there and do that. So that we're not saying we've got Christianity exactly how it should be and everyone else is wrong.
I do see it amongst Christian groups. It's like God speaking to us because He likes us. Can I say something about the talk? You're talking about like what the humanists?
Grayling.
They seem to be advocating like a hedonistic lifestyle. Have as much fun as possible. I don't know if any of that was taken out of context or what, but what you're saying is that just going for a life of pleasure is a bad thing. I don't know if that is a bad thing or not. Obviously life comprises more things than just pleasure. But the alternative, I think you were implying, is everlasting life. So what is everlasting life in heaven as seen by most Christians?
Yeah.
It's pleasure, I would think.
Mm-hmm. So I
endless
was
pleasure.
I was not saying that a hedonistic lifestyle is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I was saying a hedonistic lifestyle without God is a bad thing because people have no boundaries in terms of what they can or can't do. But hedonistic lifestyle with a God is a wonderful, amazing. But that's not the question, Aaron.
But surely a hedonistic lifestyle in itself, whether you're a Christian or not, is not a good thing. A hedonistic lifestyle to say, well, let's just go out and have, just sleep with random people all the time.
Well,
it's not
so the pursuit of
necessarily
pleasure would
the
be the hedonistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
The Christian view would be ultimate pleasure is found in God and doing God's will.
Yeah.
And so the hedonistic Christian lifestyle is I'm going to follow God as closely as I can. That would be
Right.
the...
I was going to say.
Yeah, so...
Following pleasure could mean going out and
Yeah.
playing golf every
Yeah.
day, or going for a walk. It doesn't
That's the
necessarily
golfers,
mean
yeah.
random
Yeah.
sex partners and alcohol and drugs. It doesn't necessarily mean that.
We've got many questions for next week.
Yes.
Now, Sharon, that was your very first Alpha course, and we talked about, does God guide us? And we were told at the beginning in the talk that, if you live for pleasure, that's bad, but if you live for God, it's good.
Yes.
But some of what the main speaker said sort of got your back up a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I was, my actual body, my arm was guiding me to hit him, and it was also guiding me to get and walk out. I thought, no, God would not want that, and neither would my police record, given I don't have one. And I would like to go on holiday abroad, so no, I didn't. I didn't want to hit him because I'd get arrested, because that's a morally bad thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be invited back from him, because the impression I got from him was you can do everything you want in the name of good. If it's not done in the name of God, it's worthless.
Exactly, and that's where you sort of stiffened a bit, because you work in a hospital. You've
Yep.
seen a lot of things, a lot of very, very bad cases, bad diseases, illnesses, maladies,
Yeah.
and all kinds of people help those sick people to get better, and they're not necessarily Christian.
No. I work with people from all different kinds of religions.
Yeah.
People that are atheists, people that are Jewish, Muslim. They don't do it in the name of God. They do it in the name of good, in the name of humanity, because that's what drives them to do it.
That has to be done.
People that go out of their way every day because that's what their vocation calls them to do. They do it because they want to, not because they feel they have to. That's what annoyed me. He really took that away, in my opinion. And
one of the church members actually sort of came back with like a rebuttal and said, oh, no, I'm not doing it just because God's telling me to do it. But do you think that perhaps they really are doing it because...
this whole, what really gets me is the whole, we do it in the name of God rather than in the name of humanity. You shouldn't need God to have a moral compass. If you haven't got a moral compass, that's not to do with God. That's to do with the kind of person you are. Because not everything that's done in the name of God is good, is it?
Yeah.
Wars are committed in the name of God. How can that be good?
So if an atheist or a Muslim or a Hare Krishna even, saves someone's life, that's worthless apparently.
Yeah. If it's not done in the name of God, then it's worthless. That's the impression that I got. That's how it made me feel.
It's like saying, well, you can bring up your children, and when they're sick, you can nurse them back to health. But if you don't do it in the name of the King, forget it. It's worthless.
Yeah.
It's kind of what they're saying, isn't it?
Yeah. It's almost like, well, you could be the nicest person in the world. If you don't believe in God, you're going to hell.
It's all about giving power to the cult, giving power to, this particular, belief system.
I thought all the people that sat there and I spoke to are really, really good people. Everyone's got their own reasons for believing God, and I would never ever take that away from them. That's a very personal thing to them. And if it helps them to get up and get through the day, then I think that's amazing. That's fantastic that they can do that. But to then be told by someone who, again, preached about oh, you have to, good things in life and following God, and I found it really patronising to be told that, well, you must believe in God, for all the good things that you do. So if you don't, then you're not doing it for the right reasons. So what are the right reasons to do good? Each good turn is its own reward.
Yeah.
So
The reason is it needs to be known.
yeah.
Yeah.
So really, in essence, what I gather from that, the people that are doing it in God's name, they're not doing it for their good. They're doing it because they want to go to heaven for the rest of their lives. So isn't that an ulterior motive?
Yeah, I think we both brought up that subject, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I don't think they liked it very
no.
much. Yeah, it's really annoying. Same time next week?
If I don't get kicked out.